Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Factorio Bob's Angels, episode 37. So we start the episode off by having a proper scan round of the map. I think I mentioned it last episode, but we have no rubite or bobmonium. Bobmonium's pretty close to get, but I cannot for the life of me find any rubite on any of the scanned map, which is probably going to be a pretty big problem. I've looked around loads after recording the last episode, and before this episode I had another look, and I thought I'd also have a scan round at the start of the recording, just in case anyone really feels like slowing the video down and just having a look. But I've searched loads, and I don't think we've scanned any with any radar. So one of the things I'm going to have to do when going around upgrading all the defences with laser turrets is putting out some more radars so we can scan out and find the nearest rubite patch, because it's going to be a really big problem for lead if we can't find any rubite, which is why we're using the slag slurry at the moment to produce tin and lead, because those are the two resources we're about to run out of. We also started the episode off with upgrading the copper smelting. Now we've got the crotinium processing in. We're actually processing more copper than we can smelt at the moment, as long as it's always running. We're not really mining enough to keep it running continuously. But we get that upgraded as well. We also place out the assemblers required for laser turrets because, well, I was planning on having this episode where we'd start putting out laser turrets, but due to a shortage of copper and a couple of other things, we're not going to be able to produce them fast enough to do it this episode, but we can at least do some tidying up and put things in place to hopefully get that up and backed up enough to do it next episode. So it is going to take another episode, but we do need to have enough laser turrets to actually do it. It's a bit pointless if I don't have enough to do a full episode. I didn't even have enough to do a bit this episode. I mean, we set it up and we go back in a bit, and I think we'd made 17 when we first checked, which is nothing. So I also put in a second copper line. Now we've got that extra faster smelting. We should be just above the capacity of a single yellow belt. So I'm probably going to fill all these lines in with yellow belts before upgrading to red, just to fill it out a bit. And then all it'll ever be is a case of just using the upgrade planner to upgrade everything rather than sticking everything in red belts. So again, this episode is a bit of a clean up of the base, just doing various things around. At the moment, we're just placing out some more accumulators and solar panels. We need to try and keep this a continuous thing, ready for when lasers go out, because we absolutely don't want to run out of power at any point. I also need to make sure once lasers are the primary form of defense that I don't go too crazy with bricks. So I keep doing that at various points to try and get ahead on that, so we don't have to do too much of it while lasers are out, because it would be nice to have brick everywhere. It looks a bit tidier, and plus I can move around a bit quicker, thus getting things done a tiny bit quicker. So yeah, we had I think about another 150 solar panels and accumulators, something like that. All this artifact mess is a bit annoying for me. I am going to deal with it at some point, probably when I get a personal roboport, because it's going to be a hell of a lot quicker. And I don't want to spend too much time doing things in between episodes that I don't absolutely have to. It's just a bit messy leaving them lying around, but, you know, hopefully no one's too bothered by it. So we get all of these placed out. So before the episode, I didn't really do very much. I did do a little bit more solar panel, not as much as we've just done then, which is why I've done it in the recording. I also did a little bit of extra crude oil refining. I added one of the other varieties which only creates sulfur, light oil and heavy oil, so that when petroleum fills up but we've still got storage for light and heavy, we still get a bit of sulfuric acid coming through, because we're using a hell of a lot in the slag processing area. You can see at the moment it's stopped because of the lack of sulfuric acid. So again, it's not really enough. I still need to look at more ways of doing it. I'm not sure if there's something missing still on the crude oil, something that I'm missing to primarily just get sulfuric acid from it. But you could just see on the bottom of the row, you'll see it now as we go down and upgrade the storage tanks. There's like 4 extra refiners on the end using the other method, which doesn't directly produce petroleum, which will try and bring a bit more sulfuric acid in. I mean, once we're using lots of plastic, this isn't going to be a problem. This will all flow nicely. It's just in the meantime, we're not really using very much plastic. So the sooner I can get onto that, the more this will flow better. We also have a look in a bit at adding some flotation processing for crotinium and maybe Javolite at some point just to try and get some free sulfuric wastewater from there, because that's a nice free form of sulfuric acid. I haven't got it going for the sapphirite because you've got way too much quartz, but from my previous experience, we do start using a hell of a lot of quartz at some point. So you can see the flow of lead from the rubite processing has now all flowed through to the last storage chest. All the stuff that was buffed up is gone. We come up and just have a look at Crotinium just to make sure it's running okay. I'd never connected that second belt, so there's a little bit sat on there, but currently we're not getting any coming up from the mining area, so we'll have to go and check that at some point. And I come through and just have a look at maybe getting this running. Some of the things we've completely missed out in this refining area is all the purified water processing that will need adding for each row. It does use quite a bit of purified water, so each one will eventually need its own purification setup. But I come up to look at setting it up, and I don't actually have enough pipes and stuff. I'm going to go for plastic pipes just to use up some plastic and essentially use up some petroleum. We also don't have any charging stations around, so I'm going to need to set up construction of those so we can put lots of those out, because currently that is a bit of an issue when placing out flooring, is there's nowhere to for all the bots to charge, or there's not enough places for them to charge at least, so that'll help things there. I'll put a couple in, but I'll need to put quite a few more in. But even just adding a couple of them means that they're using more power than the roboports themselves, so it is a bit dangerous putting loads in if we're going to be depending on lasers for defenses. So again, we'll just have to keep pushing solar out. Come and start setting it up, and I still haven't got enough stuff. I'm a bit derpy at the start, keep driving back and forth getting stuff, and I try and drive the car through the processing area, but there's not enough space, so I pick it up. But yeah, the bots are nicely placing out some more flooring for us, and it's a bit of a test of our power as well. I think we make it through the 2 nights that it takes them to place it all out. We come down and get a hell of a lot of plastic, probably too much. I overkill it a bit, and we'd also requested some plastic pipe and underground. That's also being produced in the factory. So you can see just there the basic logic boards coming through, or basic circuit boards, sorry, the blue ones, are coming through in a very thin manner, which is down to the very thin amount of copper coming through. So I need to do something about that at some point. But we head up just to get the purified water filtering set up for the Crotinium. The other reason for me setting this up, other than to get a bit of free sulfur, is to get some lead. So from the sorting of the Crotinium chunks, you get a bit of lead as well. So that'll hopefully help out with the lead supply while we try and find some rubite on the map. So we have got more lead than tin, but we need to buffer as much lead as we can, because it's going to be a lot longer for us to find rubite than it is bobmonium. Bobmonium is going to be pretty easy to connect up. It's probably going to be in one of the next couple of episodes, because it's pretty close. And we also need to get Javolite, not this again, Stereotype connected up. So the Stereotype flotation will get tin. So those will be our supplies of tin and lead. Stereotype is a lot less important, because to be honest, I'll actually probably connect up bobmonium and Stereotype in the same episode, or the one episode after. So rubite is a really big problem. So we're going to have to rely on slurry processing and flotation of Crotinium for lead, which is, yeah, I really hope we find some. I can't see it anywhere on the map, so even when we do scan some with the radar, it's going to be miles out. So the better we can survive without having to get it, the closer I am to having stuff like power armor to actually clear the biters for it, which is going to be a lot easier. But yeah, hopefully it's not going to be too far away. I can't believe how far out it is. I even did a quick custom map with the same map generation settings, and there was rubite, bobmonium everywhere, nice and close. So I was a bit frustrated with that, but I'll accept the challenge. We'll go and find it, and we'll get through. Just hope it doesn't cause too many boring episodes. So we get the geode line connected up. I hadn't extended that yet. We also cocked up the filter for the crushed Crotinium there. I'm not sure I've mentioned it before, but I have extended the crushed stone line that's feeding through now. I don't think we're processing it fast enough to get rid of it all still. There's still a hell of a lot of it. I could probably start getting some of it processed into slag slurry as soon as we get enough sulfuric acid, and then that can be again some more lead and tin coming through. Shame you can't use slag slurry to produce just one product. Each recipe produces 2 different things, so copper and iron, tin and lead, and I can't remember what the other the other combinations produce. But yeah, it's at least we can get some to try and get us through until we can hopefully find some more rubite. It's probably my biggest concern at the moment. On my list of notes in big capital letters at the top, it just says no rubite, exclamation mark. So yeah, that's probably going to be on there for a bit. So we try and get Crotinium fully up and running. I put in a yellow loader for the basic sorting, just so that there's always going to be enough going through for the flotation. We look at getting a tank and a barreler set up so that we can get some free sulfuric acid. This can help us with the lead and tin production. I also put a limiter on so that if we do start with the crystal processing, we always have enough to run that first. What I love about this setup is it creates exactly the right amount of sulfur to carry on with the crystal processing. That's what I like about this layout. On my old game, I had this all as a big area at the end of all the sorting, where I had one sulfuric wastewater filtering right at the end for it all, and it just couldn't handle it with the pipes. So having these sort of individual layouts is quite nice, because they can just run themselves, as long as you don't go and mess it up and take some of the chunks away. I can't remember what it was. There's something you can do to try and break it. But someone did ask for a blueprint of that area. I am going to make some blueprints available. If anyone wants any, just mention which ones you want. But that area is still not running how I want it, so I probably won't do it straight away. Once I've got it running a bit better, I'll probably make it available. It's just I haven't really worked out the circuits at the moment. I can make one available if you want it without the circuits, and just have it plain, just laid out, and you can add your own, whatever. But I will make any blueprints available that anyone wants. And we put in an output for the Bob's ores. There is a little bit of gold in there because I did let a few chunks through to the crystal processing, so it just shows that that's worked. And we get the filter set. It did let a few of the wrong resources onto that belt, but it does have a buffer chest at the end, or an overflow chest, which just sticks it in the logistics system. And at some point, I'll set the whole logistics system up so that any excess of any type of any ore or anything can just be requested and fed back into the system. I just haven't done it yet because there's not very much of any of them, and it's not really going to make a difference. Like, there's a tiny bit of crushed rubite and etc., which I'll get out of the system at some point. But yeah, it's not masses of it, so it's not really going to change the way things are. So I believe we checked the laser turrets there, and there's only 5. I thought it was 17 when we first check it, but there's 5 there. So yeah, there's no way we're going to be doing laser turrets this episode. Depending on how many we get between now and the next episode, we'll see how much of that is laying out the new laser defenses. So we come and have a look at upgrading the copper output as it's starting to build up in the storage warehouse, and we use the upgrade planner. I haven't really used the upgrade planner yet, but it'd be good to start using it. It's a lot handier to upgrade things, which is what it's there for. It's great. So we get that laid out so that it can actually feed enough copper for all of the smelters, but I don't think we're actually processing it now fast enough to feed that many smelters because the Crotinium keeps stopping. We're not mining it at a massively excessive rate because of its proximity to some biters. So that'll probably be the first place we put some lasers out. And we come and set out some filter inserters for stuff like gold and the blue ore that I can't remember the name of. It's the cobaltite, I think it is. Yeah, because we're going to be needing some of that soon for the next level of stuff. I think we produced some. Is there some in the overflow chest? I think that might have been the other product from the Crotinium crystal processing. But when we get more comfortable with our copper, we'll set that up and get that running. In fact, I think it's kind of already set up. We just need to put in the belt again that I used to block it off. So now I try and come and sort out the basic circuit board shortage. It's because only a small amount of the copper is actually getting up to the circuit production. I start by trying to put in a priority splitter. I can't remember exactly what the settings are for it. I'll probably go and look at my old factory to dig up the old priority splitter setup that I used. I think some people don't really like the priority splitter. I have had it set up in the past so that it works, but we'll see. We'll stick it in, see what people say. If anyone has a good reason why not to use them, I'll take it out. That one I put in there I don't really like, and I come and take it back out again in a bit. I think I mess around with it again in the episode and then take it out, or I take it out until the end, and then after recording I go and have another look at it, and I actually just upgrade the whole copper input there to a red belt. A really loud motorcycle has just turned on outside my house, so I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's quite distracting. I can hear it even with my headphones on. One of the things we looked at the start of the episode was the gap in these defenses. As you can see there's a biter base pretty close to the defenses, and whenever a spitter or biter walks near a sniper turret, it picks it off and the whole base attacks, just like it did then as I was just sorting out the defenses around there. So we come and push that base back quite a bit. I haven't got masses of turrets and ammunition on me, so I just chop off the bomb under this base. I put in some extra turrets and we basically leave it at that. I also have a lot of stuff in my inventory, especially picking up all these artifacts. So I didn't have enough space to pick up the car. We get pretty overwhelmed with biters and spitters because of course we've got behemoth biters, and there was also some behemoth spitters there, so which is very worrying. One of the problems with me coming up here is these turrets were never designed to deal with biters at this level of evolution. So by being here, we're triggering a load of attacks in the area, and you can see just north of us a load of the turrets are getting destroyed, which isn't great. I dumped some stuff in the car. I bring some of these sniper turrets back because I put a bit too many there. There's need to move some up here because all these places are going to get attacked now. I've been here. The whole seek and destroy range thing again, which we haven't had to look at for a while. I've managed to avoid biter slaying for quite a number of episodes, but we're going to need to do some more to get some stereotype, bobmonium, and eventually some rubite if we ever manage to find any, if there's any out there at all. I wonder if you can survive without finding one of the particular resources. I wonder if you can produce enough through slag slurry processing and the byproducts of other forms of processing. But I guess we'll find out. Don't know what we'll do if we can never find any rubite, but I doubt that's ever actually going to be the case. But we'll see. So we come and upgrade the crotinium mining. We just put those miners further along now they've cleared that bit. A couple of them are now covering infinite patches, so we will always have some coming through, but it will be most efficient to mine all of the normal patches first before we go for infinite ones. There is another crotinium patch over near the stereotype, so that mine there, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I don't know if it would be worth keeping it once it goes to infinite patches. Might just have the train visit there once every 2 or 3 times it goes to a larger patch. I don't know. I don't know if there's any point having its own dedicated train. We also come and install the rest of the coal feeding, because I think it was in between maybe this episode and the last one or the one before that. I forgot to mention it, but I've finished upgrading all the depots, so they all should be able to run now. I've renamed all the stations to depot, and I try and send enough trains to use all 4 of them, but they unload too quickly. But yeah, it's all set up now so that all 4 stations can be used. All this belt here has been upgraded to red, and I had also moved the end warehouse that they all feed into to have 2 rows of stack inserters rather than 1, so that is the buffer, and that'll be where the signal's taken to say, hey, this station's just been used, don't come in here. But I still need to mess around with that so that it's registering just the right amount, so a train won't go in if it's just been used, or if it's just about sorted everything, a train will then be able to use it. But that station, it still isn't going to work very well at the moment until we've fully upgraded the stack inserter capacity and upgraded to express stack inserters. So at the moment it's not working as well as it should do, but once it's fully upgraded, the stack inserters actually transfer quicker than the loaders. So that end chest where it goes into 6 loaders should show correctly, you know, whether the station's been used or not. But at the moment, we're not really having enough trains for that to matter. But it's nice having an Omni station where, you know, any of the 4 stations can be used by any train. I don't have to worry about having to lay out 7 stations, because I'm never going to use a whole station just for 1 ore. It just seems excessive. I did it in my last one, and yeah, the stations were just sat around doing nothing most of the time. So that's why I wanted to go for the Omni station. Plus, I do like Omni bot stations, but they use a hell of a lot of power, so I always wanted to try Omni belt unloading. So it kind of works. Don't know if I'll ever use it again. We'll see when it actually starts to get fully utilized. So we come and have a look. One of the shortages for the circuit boards is the wooden boards itself, so we got those upgraded. We were actually using the most basic of assembler for the wooden boards. I also upgrade the small electronic assemblers to the next level, just to speed that up as well. We also upgrade the carbon production to electronic chemical furnaces, so we're not using the old style ones anymore. I believe they're a lot quicker. Still probably need to upgrade that belt. I think I left in some room for 2 belts of carbon there to feed in. I just don't know if I've done it on the main bus. But the great thing about this bus is I can just add it in anywhere. It doesn't really matter. And the bus is laid out in a way that there can be an extra belt of anything that we need to expand to, until of course it expands to the point where it clashes with the oil processing area. So the bottleneck now for the copper is actually this input. So we go and put in a second belt of copper. Again, we're going to probably lay out the 4 or 5 belts of ore input before we upgrade to red, just again to fill it out. I don't know if it's more efficient with resources, but we get this all upgraded to red, making sure I put the filter in before actually adding it in, because we don't want to ruin that feed. So next episode we're probably going to be putting out some laser turret defenses and potentially maybe doing a bit of biter pushing, unless there's something really drastic I can see that needs to be upgraded. This slag processing area is still not getting enough sulfuric acid, but we're starting to use more than we're producing. But we still have a hell of a lot of slag backed up in various warehouses. You can see there's only half a red belt of slag coming through from the live area, but we still have a number of warehouses for it to clear out. But once we've got enough acid and we're getting through the slag all right, we could probably do some slurry from crushed stone. But that's going to be all we have time for this episode. I do hope you have enjoyed watching, and please do come and join me next time. Bye bye.